Thank you, Madam Mayor. Nils Peterson, 841 Travoy. I'm here as a private citizen, though I'm also a member of the Tree Commission and the Planning and Zoning Commission. I was interested to hear about the council workshop this afternoon regarding alternative supplies of water. I'm concerned about the city's ability to continue to grow while also meeting its PBAC water commitments. Bill Belknap does a good job of informing P&Z about the water implications of individual zoning actions as they are taken. But this does not provide us a cumulative overview of the situation. My question is this: what is the city's current total annual liability to deliver water to the unbuilt but already annexed and zoned lots in Moscow? I realize that the question has many complexities, and so the assumptions and caveats used to develop the answer should be included with it and may be as interesting as any numerical value. Thank you.
If you'll linger there just a minute, I want to ask Les, because we always try to respond to these at our subsequent city council meeting. I want to make sure he has enough information so that we can try to come up with an estimate of what you're asking. Les?
Well, it's an interesting question in that the city, as I see it, does not actually have a liability to undeveloped property as it pertains to water. Now, I think the perspective here is that, and I'm actually going to try to answer this for you right here, is that a city is a water provider. We have a service area, and we have a commitment to provide water service within that service area. Some of that service area is currently undeveloped. And so I believe that's the angle here in the question is, what is that commitment? And we do have some of that information in our Water Comprehensive Plan in terms of projected water consumption out through 2060, a 50-year horizon. I can tell you at this point that the water rights the city has for its existing wells are sufficient to meet the demand projected through 2060. So from that perspective, we have the water rights and the capability to provide the water necessary to meet the projected growth within current city limits and the projected city limits out through 50 years. That was part of this study in our comprehensive water system plan. Now, with regard to the PBAC limitations, that is a
Since that's been mentioned twice, I'll say Palouse Basin Aquifer Committee.
Thank you, Nancy. Of which the city of Moscow is a member. We do have a voluntary limit that was set through the 1992 Comprehensive Water Plan for the basin. And that is not the same as what we have in terms of capacity and water rights. And so if the city, and I think this is where your question is going, if the city indeed holds to the voluntary limitation within the groundwater management plan, is there sufficient capacity left to serve the remaining undeveloped properties? And
or one might view it as how much do those of us who are here need to conserve in order to make room for those of us who are not here yet?
And still remain within that voluntary.
And remain within the voluntary
number.
cap.
Right. And that is something I would have to do some research on, so we will do a little looking
And
at
I'd
that.
feel better about a follow-up at our next meeting, because I think that the complexity of this question and the intimation, and I think you didn't mean to suggest that if somebody owns property within the corporate limits of Moscow, that they wouldn't be served water, as long as we have it as a city, you know, and I think that's a legal question. I saw Rod making some frantic notes right there as you were talking. But we did hear today that if with continued use, without additional conservation, by, what was it, 2060, with expected population growth, our demand on water could grow by 80%. Over
That's
current
correct.
levels.
Yes.
We just heard that at today's workshop. That's mortifying. So anyway, we'll look forward to a little more detailed response. Looks like Tim has a question.
I do, and I think it's directed to Les. Les, when you made your comments, you suggested consumption. And by that, I assume you meant users like citizens. My question is, do your numbers also include fire flow and fire prevention and the need to have X number of gallons of water available for fire?
Right. Yeah, I did say consumption, so we're looking at production for the use of customers on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
The fire flow is a little different issue in that there are certain infrastructure needs, as we've talked about here before, that need to be upgraded, or infrastructure that needs to be upgraded to meet those fire flow demands. The water right and the availability of, or the authority of the city to provide water through our wells is there.
Okay.
The infrastructure needs for fire flow is a little bit different issue.
And then, as our workshop pointed out today, the availability of water may someday become an issue as well. So even if we have the water rights and we have all the plans and all the infrastructure, if we don't have water to go in there, that could become a matter. So, excellent question. Walter has his finger up.
Again for Les. What is the growth rate built into the voluntary PBAC number?
It was based upon a 5-year moving average starting in 1992, and there was a 1% growth factor applied to that number on out into the future. There also was a cap, if you will, which I believe is what's being referred to, of 125% of that 1992 number as kind of being the upper limit. That is the voluntary target.
And the growth rate built into your water comprehensive plan?
If I recall, it's about 1.4%.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for the question, Nils.